All right, look, I am getting sick and tired of discussing these kind of stories and covering these topics. I feel like we just talked about this a couple of times in the last couple of weeks because we did. Um, However, unfortunately, my personal experience has told me that as we move further and further into the war months, these kind of topics and this kind of nonsense is just going to keep on and hopefully not scaling, but my God. Um, let's just jump right into it. Listen, sorry for the late drop. I was working on putting together some other things when this story hit my radar, probably the same time that it hit yours, right? Um, and viewer discretion may be advised, although you might want to go ahead and leave your kids in the room for this one. Um, an elementary school in southern Texas, in a town of about 15,000 people, right? Uvalde. This town experienced a false flag set up by the Democrats in order to take your guns. They want your guns, people, and that's according to the ultra MAGA right wingers. And we're going to discuss that a little bit more later on in the broadcast. But for now, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the actual facts that we know, at least at the time of filming. And, these have been getting updated literally by the minute as I was piecing this together. So, thank goodness for CNN for that one. But let's take a look. An 18-year-old gunman on Tuesday fatally shot 19, and this also is not updated. It's apparently currently up to 20. Fatally shot 20 children and 2 adults at a Texas elementary school before he was killed by law enforcement officers, officials said. The shooter, identified by Texas officials as Salvador Ramos of Uvalde, also shot his grandmother before going to school. 3 law enforcement sources told CNN. State Senator Roland Gutierrez told CNN the grandmother was airlifted to San Antonio and is still holding on, according to information he was given by the Texas Rangers. And at least at the time of filming, she's still holding on. The gunman is believed to have acted alone. Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief Peter Orredondo said the shooting was the deadliest at an elementary school since the Sandy Hook massacre. The one that the guy that talks about the globalists and espouses this conspiracy nonsense, the one that he got in trouble talking about. Deadliest shooting since Sandy Hook, back in Connecticut back in 2012, that left 26 people dead, including 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7. Well, this school, they're talking about kids between 2nd grade and 4th grade, right? Here are the latest developments in Tuesday's tragedy, according to this CNN article, which is probably one of the most up-to-dates that I've found, at least keeping it up to date. Texas Department of Public Safety Sergeant Eric Estrada, and I'm going to hold for enjoying the fact that this police officer's name is Eric Estrada, because this is a serious issue. Told CNN's Anderson Cooper the gunman wrecked the vehicle while driving near the school after shooting his grandmother. The suspect did crash near a ditch nearby the school. That's where he exited his vehicle with what I believe was a rifle, and that's when he attempted to enter the school where he was engaged by law enforcement. The gunman had body armor, the rifle, and a backpack, Estrada said. Ramos made it into several classrooms, Estrada said. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which is the largest law enforcement agency in the area, due to Uvalde's proximity, it's like 50 miles from the border in Mexico, right? They had more than 20 agents respond to the shooting. According to law enforcement official, a CBP agent was shot in the head, but is in stable condition after the bullet did not penetrate, the official said. Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman Marcia Espinosa tweeted agents and other law enforcement officers took fire from the shooter, who had barricaded himself, risking their own lives. These Border Patrol agents and other officers put themselves between the shooter and children on the scene. To draw the shooter's attention, away from the potential victims and save lives, she wrote. President Joe Biden has ordered U.S. flags on federal grounds to be flown at half staff until sunset on Saturday to honor the victims of this senseless act of violence. So keep a lookout for that. You should be able to find the conspiracy theorists pretty quickly in your community. Uvalde Memorial Hospital spokesperson Tom Nordwick earlier said 13 children and a man in his 40s were being treated for injuries. A University Hospital in San Antonio said in a tweet they received a child and an adult from the school shooting. The 66-year-old woman is in critical condition, the hospital said in a tweet. FBI, ATF assisting local and state authorities with the investigation. Yeah, and I pulled up a little bit some other updates. This is coming from CNN also. Let's see if I can find it. Biden says he's sick and tired of it. Oh, good Lord, who isn't, right? I'm telling you, I've you can go back. I've talked about mass shootings just twice, and I swear to God, the last week. And we're going to get a little bit more into that a little bit later. But I saw an interesting update here that mentioned that there were more mass shootings in 2022 than there were actual days in the freaking year, which is just unbelievable. Of course, I won't be able to find that since we are currently trying to film this here. Give it a second. Come on. And oh, here we go. There were more mass shootings than days in 2022. As of Tuesday, May 24th, it's the 144th day of the year. So far, there have been 212 mass shootings, according to the nonprofit organization Gun Violence Archive. This means there have been more mass shootings than days of the year for 2022, which is absolutely insane and absolutely asinine. I believe that AP reported another update here for us to confirm. The school, just under 600 students. They didn't provide the ages of the students who shot, but this was the school's last week of classes before summer break. Jesus Christ. It's about 16,000 people, 75 miles from the border in Mexico, which of course would explain why Border Patrol agents were able to respond to the scene. Jesus Christ, the last day of classes before summer. It's just unbelievable. And then goes on to talk about how the school was for elementary school, of course, from 2nd to 4th grade. So, I mean, you do the math, right? You typically enter 1st grade at 6. So 20 kids, 20, not injured, not in critical condition, dead. And we're gonna look into that as we go. Now, as I was preparing for tonight, I watched the number of dead children in this story go from 14, as they update, 14, and then before filming to 18, and then to 19, and then to 20. At the time of preparing. So it's looking like updated at the time of filming at 20 dead children in this school shooting. Now, of course, earlier in the day, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott spoke publicly in the aftermath of the shooting, also citing that number of 14 students who were deceased at the time. So let's take a look here.
The shooter was Salvador Romas, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students. And killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter, he himself is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him. it is being reported that the subject shot his grandmother right before he went into the school. And I have no further information about the connection between those two shootings. And the subject is reported to be a student, to have been a student at Uvalde High School, and is a U.S. citizen.
So something to keep in mind right there. In Greg Abbott's press conference, he said he's a student at the high school and that he is a U.S. citizen. I want you to keep those two things in mind. High school student, 18 years old, U.S. citizen. Confirmed by the governor. At least at that time, right?
It appears that 2 responding officers were struck by rounds, but have no serious injuries. The Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Department is the investigating agency, and we will provide them and the city of Uvalde substantial investigative and patrol assistance. We're in the process of obtaining detailed background information on the subject, his motive, the types of weapons used, the legal authority to possess them, and conduct a comprehensive crime scene investigation.
In Greg Abbott's defense, well, in his press conference now, mind you that it was stated that the shooter was a student, as I said, a U.S. citizen. But of course, that won't stop the Ultra MAGA Q conspiracy, nutcases from, well, we're going to cover that a little bit later in the broadcast. He mentioned that they're going to investigate.
Obtaining detailed background information on the subject, his motive, the types of weapons used, the legal authority to possess them, and conduct a
the legal authority to possess them, he says. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, wants to investigate the legal authority of an 18-year-old U.S. citizen to possess firearms. Of course, Greg Abbott knew the answer before the investigation even began. Greg Abbott, Republican governor of Texas, thinks you're an idiot. He's counting on you to be misinformed. He's praying that you're a dumbass. He's praying that you're misinformed about Texas law and what he's really up to down there. He doesn't want to lose his stranglehold over the state of Texas, and I'll prove it. 18 years old? Of course, he was legally able to buy, acquire, possess, purchase a firearm in the state of Texas. Greg Abbott knew that when he made this statement. He knew because he signed the fucking bill into law that allowed for it. Well, that's not good enough. What else is Greg Abbott up to, you ask? So this was submitted by a friend of the show, Stephen Hess. This is a tweet of Greg Abbott's from, it's an oldie but a goodie, October 28th, 2015, where he says, and this is from his personal Twitter, mind you, so not the Gov Greg Abbott, where he was making those statements. He says, "I'm embarrassed. Texas, number 2 in the nation for new gun purchases, behind California. Let's pick up the pace, Texans. Hashtag NRA. Hashtag NRA. Hashtag NRA." So he's pro NRA. It's pro NRA, bro. It's pro NRA. It's completely irrational. It's a complete psychopath. Nothing too surprising about that, right? Hold that thought just for 1 minute. What's the NRA up to anyway these days, right? They seem to have posted, let's say about 5 tweets before the shooting. So on the 23rd, this of course happened on the 24th. So on the 23rd, they posted about 5 shootings the day before. 5 shootings, 5 tweets the day before the shooting. Surprisingly, nothing today. Nothing. It's kind of weird, right? I mean, you know. Although they did post this ominous video on Sunday, this last Sunday, featuring South Dakota Governor Christy Noem. I have no idea. Christy Nim. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Just gonna look at my Twitter. That's fine. So of Christy Nim, the governor of South Dakota, making the usual ammo-sexual threats against President Joe Biden. Let's take a listen.
To paraphrase Charlton Heston, former NRA president, Joe Biden, I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hands.
From my cold, dead hands. From my cold, dead hands. The NRA posted this right after the Buffalo shooting. Right after. Right after all the shootings we covered previously on this show. The NRA posted this last Sunday. That was, what, the 22nd of May? It's 25th. 2 days ago. But, you know, that's the NRA. The NRA for you. So, what about Governor Christy Noem? Well, on her Twitter account, she posted this little treat here. Let's see. And this is from today. It's her only, well, it's not her only post. She was shitposting Joe Biden for the failure of Republicans to act on the shortage regarding formula. And then her only other tweet of the day was this: may our Heavenly Father comfort those in pain and sorrow. All South Dakotans stand with the people of Uvalde. The ominous thing is, she seems to have removed from her official page. This is her, you know, at Gov Christy Nim Twitter page. This is her official, the governor page, right? She seemed to have moved the pin tweet that she had about how she fought so hard for constitutional carry in the state of South Dakota. It just like literally magically just disappeared before my eyes while I was preparing this content. When I started putting this together, when I started arranging all of these clips in order, it was there. I read it. About the time we got to here, poof, it just disappeared. I don't know where it went to. I have no idea what happened to it, but it's just gone. Maybe that's guilt. I don't know. But her most recent tweet, again, from today, is Tots and Pears. She doesn't seem to be sure what it is that she stands for. And here's how you know. Not only did she remove that pinned tweet just now, seconds before this was filmed, likely because she's in it espousing her pride in bringing forth legislation that in her state would allow for what happened in Uvalde to happen anywhere in South Dakota. Constitutional carry, right? But also this, like this Friday, like the day after tomorrow, Friday, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is going to be speaking with Texas Governor Greg Abbott. And not only that, Ted Cruz is going to be there. Tucker Carlson's favorite person in the whole wide world, Dan Crenshaw, is going to be there. Last but not least, President Donald J. Trump is going to be speaking at the NRA's annual meeting. Yes, this week, this Friday. 1 week, 20 dead, second graders, fourth graders, third graders. On Tuesday, big fancy pants dinner at the NRA with Donald Trump, Senator Team Wolf, Dan the Man Crenshaw, and these other two psychobillies I've just been talking about. That's happening on Friday, right? You wonder why she removed that pinned tweet? I'm wondering why she didn't just delete the whole freaking account. Dead kids on Tuesday, dinner date on Friday with the president. It's just a typical week for the ultra MAGA soggy pants amosexual book club crowd, right? This kind of thing just reeks of well, it reeks. It's disgusting. And these executives in their states and the former presidents, well, they're counting on you to be dumb as a bag of rocks. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate the people who are following me on Twitter at ChainsawCCC. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am very interested to hear your thoughts on these and other issues. If you enjoy what we're doing here in rural Missouri and want to support independent progressive media from the hills and wilderness of the Ozarks, consider going to patreon.com/ChainsawCCC and becoming a Patreon supporter. You can support independent media for as little as $3 per month. That's half the cost of a loaded tea per month. Thank you again, and we'll catch you on the flippity fling flong. Rock and roll.